Hello everybody, welcome into the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. Kicking off the round of 12 tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. Appreciate everybody tuning in. You're watching Austin Green live on Ghost Racing Network. Drivers getting the engines warmed up, getting ready to roll off the pits. So how about it? Let's head right down trackside and get to your pre-race ceremonies here. We're going to start off with your starting grid here tonight on the pole. About Team Watson Racing getting Andrew Nieder in the 36 car, one of his few poles so far this season. Rolling on the outside pole tonight is going to be Tracy Powers. Carried some good momentum from what we saw in the last couple races. We'll see if he can continue his run here tonight. Not a playoff driver, but nonetheless, again, looking for a good run here tonight. Austin Fitzgerald, he will roll off from the third position back in fourth. It's going to be Brandon Bikey. Jeff Marble will start in fifth with Tyler Marble back in sixth. Cody Richardson will roll off from 7th, Andrew Kotska in 8th, Brian Curry back in 9th, Jeff Shutt in 10th, Alan Pajari in 11th, Scott Glasso back in 12th. Rolling off from row 7, it's going to be Jacob Musso in 13th and Jared Bundy in 14th. Sean Kaltenbach will roll from 15th. He'll have Brian Conklin to his outside in 16th. Richard Elliott will start from that 17th position. It's going to be Johnny McCulchuk in 18th. Kyle Oakley back in 19th with Joshua Watson in 19th. Todd Shiro will start on the outside of row 11 in 22nd. Cody Matthews to his inside in 21st. Thomas O'Hara starting from 23rd. Brett Spott in 24th. Ryan Haynes will start from 25th. Glenn Grigsby in 26th. Danny Gutierrez in 27th. And Jeffrey Souza going to be rounding out the field in 28th. Taking a look at the race info here tonight for Texas Motor Speedway. It's going to be the Texas Fall 200 for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. 134 laps tonight. Not a super long race, and I think that's going to affect the strategy for some of these guys. Track temp 118. Texas mile and a half, but reconfigured a few years back. Turns 1 and 2 completely different from 3 and 4. We're going to see that be quite a challenge for these drivers tonight, but still a very, very high speed 1.5 mile oval. 100% fuel as always tonight. 4 sets of tires. No fast repairs. Open setups and 3 green-white checkers if we were to need them. As always on your scoring tower, we're going to have the playoff drivers now. I noticed here once we got it fired up for the broadcast time, a little bit of a glitch. It looked like it reset what I had set up for the playoff guys, so it's still going to show 16 for now. But once we take our first commercial break, I will see if I can go ahead and get that fixed here. And we'll probably take an early break just to get that fixed. But for now, we're going to keep an eye on this restart here because it's going to be a big factor in how track position sorts out and who runs where on the long run. So here we go. Pace car makes the hard left turn. Nieder and Powers into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is in the air. The round of 12 is underway. Lap 1 at Texas is going to go to Andrew Nieder. Found himself a pretty quick gap. Started off on the pole, but you had to wonder if Tracy Powers would have anything for him. Not the case. Powers fell back 4 positions on that restart, and it's Austin Fitzgerald who settled in second. Said last week he loves Texas. We'll see if he can get himself a win here tonight and lock himself into the round of 8 as we continue to close in on the end of the playoff picture. There's Jeff Marble in the 15 car. He is settled in now in the 3rd position, looking for a podium here tonight, probably at the worst. Team Marble iRacing, we talked about consistency in and out throughout the season, and man, oh man, they have easily, by far, probably been the most consistent team. But when you look for the hot hand, you're going to have to look back in 17th right now. It's Joshua Watson. Got himself a win in the last round, looking to advance to the next round. And again, he has got to be the favorite as of right now, currently sitting in that 16th position. Jared Bundy and Kyle Oakley running just behind him. Cody Matthews trying to settle in line, but right now everybody's still continuing to single file out. We're not completely single filed yet. Looks like about the front 10 are, but back here you see Joshua Watson continuing to try to pick up positions as Brian Conklin looking to make the outside work through 1 and 2. Let's go on a ride on board here real quick with Austin Fitzgerald, and just a quick representation, if you will, here of how tricky it is. This is how fast 3 and 4 are. Not a lot of grip, but enough to get these cars to stick, and a lot of throttle time still nonetheless. And you get over here, we'll take a look at the dashboard speed, down to 1 and 2. You really got to bail out of the gas. Gets down to low 160s. And it's going to pick up the throttle here, hold a nice steady line. I think these cars are probably going to get pretty loose as the run goes on. But we'll see which guy made the best setup this week to counter that. Through 3 and 4 here, you hear him let off the throttle, but not nearly as long. Back in the throttle at the upper 160s. And now he's really going to crank up the speed as he catches a draft off of Andrew Nieder down the front straightaway. And just as they're about into turn 1, he's going to get up to almost 190 miles an hour. But he's starting to fade a little bit here. I'm thinking Fitzgerald's maybe trying to save a little tire, although we heard him scrubbing that right front quite a bit on exit last lap from 2. You see further back, we actually have some guys that look like they're starting to get a little bit tight here early on. Couldn't tell if that was Pajaria as one of them, but back here, the 0-2 of Richard Elliott. Looks like he's rocking a new paint scheme here tonight. He was one of the guys that got a little out of shape right there, almost got into the outside wall. But he was able to hold on, and he is one of the drivers in the battle right now for the non-playoff driver points contention battle, if you will. And the guy that has the highest averaging finishing position that is not in the playoffs will get some money here at the end of the playoffs. 7 laps in. We are going to go ahead and take that first commercial break. The reason it's going to be a little earlier than usual, in case you missed it from earlier, is just simply that we are going to try to fix the issue here that we have real quick. See if we get some of these playoff drivers' info back updated. Had it set up for the start of the broadcast, and it looks like it reset. So we're going to take a quick side-by-side break. We'll keep it up front. You don't miss a thing. Stick with us here at Texas. Back live at Texas Motor Speedway for the Texas Fall 200. Only 14 laps completed so far. But how about a new leader during our break? Austin Fitzgerald has taken the lead away. You saw Niedert fall a couple positions, and that's making me think he may have used his stuff up a little too early. Texas, one of the tracks, very, very abrasive on these tires. And Fitzgerald was sitting back in second. Thought he was fading, but in reality, he was just playing a game of patience. And now for Niedert, it's going to be trying to hold on here probably until that first pit stop, whether it be under green or under caution, making some adjustments. And going to have to do a better job of saving tire under the next round of a green flag run. Took off all the guys from the scoring tower that are no longer in the playoffs. And I think the biggest surprise from all that is Brian Curry. Had a lot of speed all season into the playoffs. Unfortunately, though, wasn't able to make one of the races last round, and that cost him just enough to where he was not able to advance to the round of 12. Nonetheless, a great run for Brian overall. Johnny Mikulchuk also found himself facing elimination after last week. Alan Pajari, remember, got that win at Auto Club earlier in the season, but things just didn't work out. Had a rough couple of races in the round of 16, and a couple of them not even his fault. Last week at Bristol, pretty brutal, and that unfortunately took him out of the round of 16 as well. All these guys continuing to fight, though, looking to see if they could still make a good run out of what's been a pretty good season. Then Bill Benedict, your final driver, eliminated in the round of 16. But, hey, a playoff berth nonetheless. It's always a big deal for all these guys. Look who's moving their way through the field now. Joshua Watson back in 9th place. He's already up 11 from where he started. And what's really impressive right now about the 01 is the amount of positions that he's made up while still being able to save a decent amount of tire from what it looks like. I mean, he's definitely going to have to use a little bit more than everybody else as he continues to work his way through the field, but just continues to march everybody down and advance his position. And I think he's going to just continue to try to use up these tires to make it to that first set of pit stops. And we keep talking about that first round of pit stops. Well, when are we expecting them? Looking at around 63 to 67 laps on a general run. I believe that's going to be as far as they can go on fuel and tires. And if that were to be the case, I think everybody looks to make it right about 67, and you would be able to make it on just one stop. I can almost guarantee that we'll see some guys such as Austin Fitzgerald and Jeff Marble try that strategy. Maybe we see a couple guys try a counter, maybe pit a bit earlier, try to take that extra set of tires, run some faster laps overall. That's going to all depend on just how great the fall-off is in terms of lap time. And as we look to the lead now, it's Brandon Bikey, one of the rookies, getting his feet wet up here at Texas. And he's going to lead more than just one lap here, 20 laps in, and he has led a few of them so far. One of the BMP Racing drivers. Going back to the back of the field and taking a look with the track map, though, right now. See, it's Jeffrey Souza. Looks like he had issues. He was not able to make the start of the race. Todd Shiro, currently the last running car on track. He is just now exiting turn 2 as the rest of the field is rocketing down the back straightaway and into 3 and 4. Glenn Grigsby and Brett Spod. Brett Spod is another one of the BMP Racing drivers. He sits just behind Thomas O'Hara. And there's Cody Richardson in 23rd, Richard Elliott 22nd. There's Johnny Mikulchuk, currently in 21st, down 3 from where he started. A couple guys towards the middle of the pack, but are on the move. Well, we talked about Joshua Watson. He's in the top 10 now. Danny Gutierrez was able to sneak on in. He got a little close there in the last race of the round of 12 at Bristol, but the 08 was able to hang on. And your Daytona, Capital Auto Daytona 250 winner is still fighting for a championship. He's going to have a good run here at Texas. And the biggest reason for that is because the next 2 tracks that we head to are complete wild cards. Probably going to talk about it at some point later in the broadcast, but Talladega Super Speedway, everybody's got that one circled on the calendar next week for one reason or another. Some of these guys are going to be looking to take that opportunity to maybe get their win and advance to the next round. Maybe some of the guys that don't feel as confident at this mile and a half that we're at tonight, or the Charlotte Roval, which I don't know if there's really any drivers that feel too confident about that one. And you got other guys that are just looking to survive that one and get through it. But we will see. We could see a new winner again. Everybody who doesn't have a win on the season, whether you're in the playoffs or not, another one of those great opportunities to get it there, as the draft is the great equalizer that we see at super speedways. But getting some momentum here tonight would mean that you don't have to worry about any of it through the next 2 races. Here's Brian Curry now making a move back around Joshua Watson. Curry, another one of the guys that seems to be so good on long runs, and apparently one of the guys that's good without practice. Last time we saw him, said he didn't even practice for the race. Kansas just hopped on last minute and had a phenomenal run. Tracy Powers back tonight, still running in the top 10 after qualifying second. Taking a ride on board here with Brandon Bikey. Jeff Marble just behind him, and Jeff just continues to put the pressure on. He'll make a pass, just kind of follow the leader right now, but he doesn't look like he's too eager to make it a pass. And look how smooth he holds the steering wheel here through 3 and 4. You can tell they look like they kind of want to try to push the speed a little bit more, but he doesn't want to wear those tires out too quick either. And 25 laps down, they're still not quite at the halfway mark in this run just yet. As we go back a little bit further, there is the ride on board with Joshua Watson. He is one of the guys that is carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight, or at least I thought he was. Actually, take it back. Doesn't look like Josh is in our onboard cameras tonight. Just a couple places ahead of him, though. Tyler Marble certainly is. He currently sits in the 5th position. I feel like the 48 car is, I wouldn't say kind of become a sleeper pick by any means, but just kind of faded out of the conversation just strictly because he had been so dominant towards the end of the regular season. And he's still been having top 10 runs here so far in the playoffs. Made it through to the round of 12 with pretty good confidence, but he's one of the guys that feels like they can go a bit farther. That's exactly what he is trying to do here. Continues to move his way up through the field. As again talked about, he's in the top 5, so he's in a good position as it stands right now. And he is chasing after his teammate Jeff Marble. Runs a couple positions ahead, still in 2nd, and just laying the pressure on Brandon Bikey. Gonna see if Bikey manages to slip up. Jeff's starting to get a little bit tight and loose on exit right there. The closer you get to the car in front of you, especially in these next gens, as reliant as they are on downforce, any cleaner you can get on the nose, the better. And you see he's able to get some right here through 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 that last time. It got taken off the nose of the 15. You saw him start to get tight and slip up a little bit. Kyle Oakley further back the pack. Take a look at him in a little bit. And Austin Fitzgerald is still in this mix, so it's a 3-car battle for the lead since the start of the race. The top 4 have not managed to get, I would say, more separated than within a second of each other, as Andrew Neidhart currently 7/10 back. You might as well consider him in the mix. And Tyler Marble, the first car, a second out. But how about your top 7 running right now, all in the playoffs? Cody Richardson, another playoff driver. He runs inside the top 10 right now in 9th. And with no stage breaks, everybody's still looking ahead to that first green flag stop. And you know that they're all going to be hoping that they can run a clean one. And I'm looking at Jeff's onboard here. He just looks like he is getting looser and looser every lap. A couple different lanes being run by some of the cars further back. Looks like Ryan Haynes in the 35, Brett Spott, his teammate. Ryan Haynes a couple positions ahead of him in 17th. Brett Spott right now back in 24th. But Brett's experimenting here a little bit. Looks like he's looking at the high line. Didn't really see too many guys making it work in practice, at least over the course of a long run. Short run, I think there's a little speed to be gained up there, especially through 1 and 2 if you kind of pin the guy down in the corner. And speaking of Ryan Haynes, talked about he's up in 17th, didn't make the playoffs, but having a good run so far here tonight as well. He's up 8 currently from where he started. And hard to see him there, but that's the best camera angle we got right now. Continue to work the wheel. He is to the inside of Jeff Shutt. Man, I thought Ryan was going to slide up just a little bit right there, but he was able to hold it down. And all of a sudden, now Jeff Marble, talked about it, looked like the handling might be starting to go away for the 15. And that could be the case here as Austin Fitzgerald has gotten back around. And we trade the lead yet again. I wonder if Fitzgerald maybe let his tires kind of cycle out in terms of let him cool down, backed off, just ran a conservative line, and now he's going back up here to challenge. But Brandon Bikey, he's not going to give up that clean air too easily. Fitzgerald's going to have a really tough time making the pass here, I think, unless Bikey just kind of falls off a cliff in terms of handling. Fitzgerald might have to try the outside. Going to be the first guy to really venture out there from that second position. But the 74 car looks like it's rotating pretty well. Take a look here at the right rear for Austin Fitzgerald. See if we can get any idea of just how good that car looks through the center of the corner. And you hear how long he's able to hold the throttle, getting down into 3. Bails off a little bit, hugs the white line on exit. You see Jeff further back washing up just a little bit sooner. There's Joshua Watson continuing to climb positions, now up 14 from where he started. 3 more since we last checked on him, and he is now in the 6th place position, looking for 5th. And I think that 0-1 car will continue to go forward after this first round of pit stops once they all get back on even rubber. And speaking of the pit stops, I know we said there's kind of only really 2 strategies, but I think if you were somebody trying that alternate strategy of maybe making this 2 stops instead of just 1, I think you got to pit here probably around lap 40, maybe 43. So I'm going to say somewhere between lap 40 and 50 if you want that strategy to work out at all, maybe closer towards the 40 side rather than 50. And man, Jeff Marble is continuing to fall off here. The back end is just not really sticking to the track for him. Right on board again here. Watch his hands here. 3 and 4, it's not so bad until they get to exit, but 1 and 2 is where it looks like he's really started to struggle a little bit. The back tires just don't really want to stick. You try to hold kind of a straight wheel up on exit, but if you don't have the grip, you can't get the throttle down, and that's where it continues to fade. You see Jeff kind of does an arc, gets down to the white line, and then right here, you see the back end. It's just sliding all around on him. You see his driver onboard cam right there just moving the wheel. And we are seeing shifting starting to come into play a little bit for some of these guys. 3 and 4, no downshift, but as you take a look there on the driver info box in the middle of the screen, yellow flag is out, so hold on just a minute. Looks like Brett Spot has crashed. And there is the 35. Looks like he's going to tow it back to the pits. He's got left front damage. The question is, where did he get it from? Looks like the right side's pretty banged up as well. Brings out your first caution here on lap 36. Let's go take a look at it. Gonna wonder if Brett was one of the guys trying some pit strategy. I think he sure enough was. So Brett made a pit stop. He's coming out of the pits here, and it's a tricky apron to get off. Very flat and narrow. And maybe he was just trying to get a little bit too much here. And actually, no, I take it back. This was not a designed pit stop. I mean, you see it there on the right front. He's got heavy, heavy damage. So he definitely hit something here unintentionally. Let's back this up. So he had already chose to pit at this point, but he's got damage. And I'm still not exactly sure where he got all this damage. See if we can... And at this point, looks like he was still okay. Saw him maybe tap the wall out of 4. And still looking for it here. So far, so good. Oh, there it is. The backstretch. That looks like it would have broke the toe length for sure. So he just gets loose off of 2. This is what we've been seeing consistently with a lot of guys so far. Relatively hot track temp and just starts slipping up the track on him here. He's trying to catch it. You see the back end. Finally does catch it, but unfortunately overcorrects, and boom. That's a pretty big shot into the outside wall. I had to assume that probably bent the right front suspension up pretty bad. And that was what caused him to take it down to the pits. You see him riding high. He's going to drop it down low. And I made it into the pits clean. So far, so good up to this point. He's going to get into his box with no issues. And there you go. I mean, you see how jacked up the right front is. Speeding this up for you. This isn't what drew the caution. What's going to draw the caution here is when he tries to make his way back out. And for that, we'll ride on the cockpit cam. Looks like he did choose to fix some of the damage as well. Don't think he got all of it fixed, though, unfortunately. And as he said on the pits, here he goes back out, and we'll take a ride on board the cockpit here once we get to the end of the pit lane. And so we talked about it's already a tricky pit road, and when you have suspension damage, it's that much trickier. He took tires. Gets up to 3rd gear. Putting a little bit of wheel into it and starts getting really out of shape. Puts a little more wheel into it, and yeah, he just barely taps the apron and it sends him around back into the inside wall. Looked like it was kind of off track, but it still drew the caution nonetheless. So as we go back up front now with 38 laps complete, it is Brandon Bikey as your current leader. Everybody coming in to top off on fuel and tires. Austin Fitzgerald being scored 2nd. Jeff Marble in 3rd. Tyler Marble back in 4th. Engineer at 5th. Joshua Watson currently in 6th. Keep an eye for him to go to the front now with these new stickers. Cody Richardson back in 7th. Sean Kaltenbach 8th. Danny Gutierrez in 9th. And it's going to be Brian Conklin currently rounding out your top 10. And as Bikey continues to lead, he is currently the only non-playoff driver being scored inside the top 10. Brian Conklin, of course, sneaking his way into the top 10 at the end of that last run. And so now it does change up what we're going to see for pit strategy a little bit. Still going to be a 1-stop. At most, guys could probably make it to around lap 105 or so on fuel and tire. So now do you try to split this up in half? Do you try to run late, maybe come in a little early? I think the answers to that kind of rely on where you're running on track. If you have the lead, maybe you pit a little bit later. If you're running second or third, maybe you try halfway or just a couple laps before the leader, see if you can't short pit him. But if we get another caution, that could change some things. And if we get a caution anytime after probably about lap 64 rather, no, excuse me, 67, then everybody will come back down, top off on fuel and tires, and then it will just be a long run to the finish. And we're going to keep an eye here if we can to see on how much lap time this fell off. Taking a look there at the last lap for Brandon Bikey before we went under caution, it was a 31.4. And now that they're on fresh tires, actually it was a 31.5 it looks like. Now that they're on fresh tires, we're going to see how that changes. A little bit further back, Brett Spod looks like he is still in the pits. And I say a little bit further back, but that was actually at the back of the pack. Brian Curry, not sure what happened here, the 28, but he is currently in 25th. Todd Shiro has moved up a couple spots, now currently in 24th. But some of your playoff drivers that really need to start to find some momentum soon here. Scott Glasso back in 23rd, Andrew Kotska in 21st, and even Jeff Shutt having a decent run in 14th, but they're going to need to pick up the pace just a little bit because as each round goes on, it just gets more and more competitive, harder to advance to the next round. And I mean, if you were looking for 8 guys to advance to the next round, you got 9 of them right now inside your top 10. All right, here we go. So Bikey and Fitzgerald in row 1. We'll see how hard Fitzgerald decides to race forward here. He's got a lot of hungry guys behind him. Tyler Marble, Jeff Marble, they're going to be looking to get to the front here. I think a lot of them realize just how important that clean air is with what they saw from the 13 car that last run. And then Joshua Watson saw how quick he made his way towards the front on the last set. We'll see if he can finish the job off during this run. Green flag is back in the air. 40 laps complete at Texas. Down into turn 1 they go for the first time here, back under green. Fitzgerald with a lot of momentum on the outside, and this is going to be important if he can make this stick. Cold tires, though, not going to be his best friend. He has to bail out of the throttle. That allows Bikey to pull back even. Now through 3 and 4, look for that inside to maybe get a little bit of momentum here. If Bikey can hold it down, cold tires, this is one of the tracks where they are so much worse than they are at a lot of tracks. You have no grip for the first lap or two while you're trying to get them warmed up. Fitzgerald, though, still holding strong. Jeff Marble, he comes into the picture now. And Fitzgerald's going to have to fight a little bit harder right here. He's probably hoping he can jump in line behind Jeff Marble, but there's just no gap there right now. Jeff got a really big run down the back straightaway, but Fitzgerald still hanging even. This is exactly what Bikey wants to see. Continuing to pull away. Saw a little bit of chaos here towards the back. I saw 3 wide, one car jumping off the track, but they all saved it. And up front, Fitzgerald still holding even with Marble. You can see that's allowing Bikey to just ever so slightly get a little bit of breathing room now between him and the 15 car. Andrew Niedert in the 36 back in that 3rd position now. And Fitzgerald's got to just be feeling like he's trapped at this point. Joshua Watson's going to try to go by him too. And I'm thinking that I'm not going to see anybody picking that outside line if we have any restart for the rest of this race. Fitzgerald tried to make it work. Maybe if you get clear on that first lap, it's doable. But if you don't, you can see just how far to the back you fall. Fitzgerald, from what was a 2nd place starting spot, is now going back to 5th, maybe 6th. He's finally going to be able to find a spot in line, and just behind him, Tracy Powers is the next guy that's stuck on the outside line. A little bit of racing going on back here between Glenn Grigsby and Brian Curry in the 28. See who wins this duel. Curry on the inside. He's going to get clear. Grigsby's going to have to jump in behind. And Todd Shiro fell a couple positions off that restart. Jeffrey Souza not having a great run here tonight either. Of course, he is currently 33 laps down, so he missed the start. And I remember noting that. But good to see him still making his way out here. He's going to try to scrap out whatever points he can. You never know if a couple drivers getting a wreck here could change the entire outcome of the races. Man, they are getting really, really dicey for 2nd place. Andrew Niedert and Jeff Marble bumper to bumper now, but Joshua Watson is taking a peek. Niedert slipping up, some contact. Marble's got to catch it. Oh, my goodness. That was a close call right there for Niedert and Jeff Marble. They both save it, but Watson was able to get by because of it. And they all single file back out. Andrew Niedert looks like he's just slipping up the track here a little bit. I'm not sure if he's looking for more position here or if the car is just getting a little bit too tight for him right now. Jeff Marble looking back to the inside. Thought he was maybe going to slide up. Joshua Watson looking for a crossover. Bikey is trying to take the air away, and here comes the 15 back to the inside. Watson is going to throw a big block. Jeff Marble gives him a bump draft now down the front straightaway. They call it No Limits Texas for a reason. I mean, these guys look like we are within 10 laps to go. Never mind, just under 100 still. Jeff thinking about looking to the inside again, but there's nothing there. He'll have to tuck in line, but I'm surprised at how much Neidert is making this high line still work. The only downside is he is going to pay the price on the back end of this run. He is killing his right side tires as it stands right now. And lap times was one of the things that we talked about we were going to take a look at. And this is after a couple laps, but you saw on Brandon Bikey's first couple laps there, 35s, 36s, so we didn't even get to the length of a full run, and the fall-off was already over a second. It shows you just how important tires are. I think if we run green flag racing anywhere, probably over 7 laps maybe, I think you'll see everybody come in. Anything over 5 laps, we might have some split decisions. Brandon Bikey lost the lead there to Joshua Watson, and now he has fallen quite a few positions. Again, continue to talk about how important track position is, and when I said he lost the lead to Watson, I meant to say to Team Watson Racing, as Andrew Neidert has taken the lead. Joshua Watson still hanging in second, looking for more though. And I think that 01 is just going to kind of sit here like a cheetah, just stalk his prey here until Andrew Neidert makes a mistake or starts to fall off with tire wear. How about Alan Pajari? He's pretty good on 1.5 miles, really good at 2-mile ovals. He likes any track that has a lot of speed, such as Texas. And he's making his way to the front now, up 8 from where he started. He has moved into that final podium spot. Jeff Marble paying the price a little bit here for all the battling he had to do with Andrew Neidert. He has now fallen back to 4th. Tracy Powers back up in the top 5 mix. So is Brian Conklin, Austin Fitzgerald. And we saw a lot of racing on the restart, but you can see once everybody starts to get settled in, it just becomes so hard to pass. And that, I think that's probably why we saw so much aggression and guys fighting so hard for position at the restart rather, that last caution. And as Marble gets back in line, might have saw a little bit of smoke for somebody tapping the wall further back towards the middle of the pack. Brian Curry looking to the inside here of the 47, wasn't able to get his nose down far enough. Got one trapped on the outside. That looks like the 72 still of Johnny Mikulchuk. The 4 of Scott Glasso, he's trying to make his way through the field, was in the 20s during the restart. He is up to 17th, but overall still down 5 from where he started tonight. And he may have to make some more adjustments on that 4 car to get it going. Big congratulations, by the way, to Jeff Marble. Announced last week after the race, he didn't announce, but it was announced rather, that he was indeed the winner of the Noble 5 Challenge here. So I believe he was awarded $50. Had a good run at Bristol last week, but had the best average finishing position over the 5 races that we had, and it went Daytona, followed by, I believe it was Atlanta, and then Talladega, and then no, I take that back. Atlanta was not in there. I think it was Daytona, Talladega, and then followed by Charlotte, Darlington, and Bristol. And Jeff was able to get it done at every single kind of track, and that's what I liked about the challenge was sometimes we see it'll just be super speedways, but in this case, you had to be a master of them all. Super speedways, short tracks, 1.5 miles, and endurance races with Coca-Cola 600. Joshua Watson, you saw the move there, was able to get around Andrew Neidert down the front straightaway. Neidert tried to make a move back, but couldn't make anything happen. And now Pajari is going to try to ride a lane up here, look for some momentum to the outside. Can't make it work. We'll see if he crosses back down to the low side right here. And, oh, man, almost some contact right there as they all stack up, getting down into 3. Out back, Sean Kaltenbach to the outside of Cody Richardson. And it might have been the other way around. Cody might have been looking to the inside of Sean. Danny Gutierrez in the mix. Contact between Cody Richardson. Cody's going to get really loose into the turn, but he holds on. Wow, that had to make Cody's heart skip a beat there. He almost got turned around, and he's still trying to save it. Back up on track here. Easy now, Cody. Has to save it again, and you can see just how hard it is on a driver if you get thrown off your rhythm, even for just a lap. Is just talking about Cody had a great save getting down into turn 1 after he got doored. Didn't look intentional, just tight racing, but then because of that, over in turn 2 on exit, slipped up and almost lost the back end, but he was able to save it Got back on track, did lose a couple positions though. So he settles back down into the 19th spot. Up front, they're starting to get a little racy for the 5th, 6th, and 7th positions. Actually, this is between Brian Conklin and his teammate Tyler Marble. Conklin on the outside, Marble on the inside. And as Gutierrez going to think about splitting them 3 wide, sure enough he is. The 08 to the middle gets around the 37 of Brian Conklin. Danny Gutierrez continuing to be on the move, trying to stay inside the top 10. And with no stage points, you can't really rely on those to get you any track position. And you don't know if we could see any more cautions throughout this race. Just that fine line between trying to advance your position and saving whatever tire you have. And right now up front, Joshua Watson, Andrew Niedert, and Jeff Marble seem to be the 3 best guys doing the best job at it. Last time though we saw Jeff Marble after he got to the front, almost to the front, got up to 2nd, ran there for a while, started tracking down the leader, but kind of fell off at the longer portion of the run. We'll see what adjustments he made. Again, they call him the king of the long runs for the reason. Brandon Bikey back to 2nd. He wants to see himself back in the lead. I think he fell back kind of by design. I think he wanted to save a little tire, taking notes from these guys. And when you see a rookie doing that, it's a scary sight to see in the sense of, he is going to be fast next season. He's going to be looking to be a championship contender and could put BMP Racing in victory lane for the first time next season. So as everybody stays single file, well, hold on just a minute. Not too single file back here. Andrew Kotska on the bottom of 3 wide, trying to get clear here. Jeff Shutt, he's able to do it. Kaltenbach on the top of the 39 to Ryan Haynes. And the 47 of Andrew Kotska was below. Everybody sorts it out and finds a gap to fill in. But they are still 3 wide back here. Scott Glasser now the one in the middle. Turns 1 and 2, it really widens out. The radius of the turn is a little bit longer as well. But you get down here to 3 and 4, it's fast, but it's a lot more narrow. You can't really do 3 wide. You can do 2 wide. And that's exactly what they're going to get back down into, 2 wide. Kaltenbach way up top. Got to be careful. He got in the marbles. Scott Glasser with a big moment. That's going to cause Jeff Shutt. He has to check up. So it actually works out for Kaltenbach instead. But Glasser's going to lose a spot, and Jeff Shutt is going to lose a couple spots. 60 laps in now, approaching the halfway mark. These guys look like they settled down a little bit. Back up front, the battle for the lead is heating up. Brandon Bikey now looking to the inside of our current leader, Joshua Watson. If Watson's just playing it safe here, saving a little tire, I'm going to say not, because I think he's going to race this 13 car pretty hard right here. He knows how important track position is, and he's going to want to keep it. So you go down to turn 1. Jeff Marble going to keep a close eye on both of these guys, see if they slip. You see Watson is able to roll more speed being on the outside through the center of the corner. But on exit is where Bikey is able to prevail just a little bit. Joshua Watson gets a big side draft on the right side door of Brandon Bikey and into turn 3, looking to get clear. Can he keep that momentum up on the top line? Looks like he can't do it. Brandon Bikey's car is sticking really, really good to the inside. Looks straight as an arrow there coming out of 4. Didn't see any sort of a bobble. The longer that Watson chooses to race the 13 like this, the more of a risk both of these guys put themselves. Of Jeff Marble going right around both of them, he's got a chance for a 3 wide move here. It's not going to take it. I think he's going to try to continue to play the game here. Keep these 2 side by side as long as you can. That's why Jeff gave Brandon Bikey a little bit of a push right there. But how about Watson still holding him off on the outside? This has been going on now for about 3 laps. And at a certain point, you got to wonder who's going to give first. And if nobody is going to give, which tires on which car are going to give out first. Bikey still holding strong on the inside. Did Watson finally get him enough of a run to get clear? He did not. Jeff Marble back down to the inside. Any arrow push he's going to give, he wants to stick it to the back of the 13. And remember, Jeff's biggest enemy right here that he's trying to battle is going to be Joshua Watson, another playoff driver. Brandon Bikey is not a playoff driver. So while if you're Jeff Marble, you want the win, if you had to pick just randomly between those 2 guys who you wanted to win, you're certainly going to have to go with Brandon Bikey, as it helps your chances a little bit more. And all this battling has now brought Tracy Powers back into the mix in that 25 car. He's going to actually drop to the inside right here of Jeff Marble to see if he can pick up a couple positions. 64 laps now completed, and it looks like Joshua Watson is finally going to get cleared for just a moment if he decides to take it, but he doesn't. That's going to allow Brandon Bikey to pull back up on the left side of his door. Down into turn one. Bikey's just continuing to fade again. Very impressed with the job that Josh is doing up front. Further out back, Brian Curry and Alan Pajari. Looks like a similar battle, just for a different position. That is the battle right now for 9th. And it looks like Brian Curry is going to prevail. Talked about what you want to do for your pit strategy here. Split it in half, go a little bit longer, potentially go a little bit short. If these guys wanted to go about half, then you would probably expect to see that final pit stop maybe somewhere around lap 80 or somewhere in the 80s. Somewhere between 15 and 20 laps from now. Maybe a little bit longer, just depending on which strategy you're going with. Tracy Powers out back, made a little bit of a mistake. That allowed Tyler Marble to get to his inside. Austin Fitzgerald pushing that 48 car down the back straightaway, trying to get them both clear of Andrew Nieder now, and he does. But up front, these two just continue to battle it out. Let's take a ride on board here with Brandon Bikey as he gets down into the turns. You can see just how hard it is for him to hold it down there when he's getting pinched by one of the veterans in the league. Take a look off the right front. I mean, look how close these two continue to get. Joshua Watson, whether he's a rookie or not, he is going to give him absolutely no room. And Brandon Bikey is continuing to do a great job of staying off of him. The car looks really, really stable, though, which I think is what's helping him. And Jeff Marble just continues to sit back and wait and watch behind these two, waiting to see which one's going to slip up first. And every time Watson almost gets clear, it's on the exit of a corner. And Brandon Bikey is just able to hold more momentum down the straightaway, which is kind of odd when you look at the fact that the 13's on the bottom line and the 01's in the top. You'd expect the top to be a little bit faster, but it's just not been the case so far. So you got 4 cars currently sitting within, make it 5 actually, within 1 second of each other. Tyler Marble being the last car in that battle. And actually, looks like it's 7. I take it back. We brought 2 more into the mix here. And Austin Fitzgerald and Danny Gutierrez. Those 3 are battling for that 5th position. And when we get back, we will be kind of approaching the pit window. So make sure you stick with us. Going to take a quick side-by-side break. We'll be right back. Back live at Texas Motor Speedway. First race in the round of 12 for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. And during break, we saw Joshua Watson take the lead. Just as we were getting ready to come back from break, Brandon Bikey said, I'm going to go ahead and take that right back. So the two that were side by side for so long kind of did a quick flip-flop trade-in positions. And now Brandon Bikey, if he can set himself up nicely for this pit stop, he could have a chance at collecting another win here. First win in the playoffs. Fortunately, not a playoff driver, but man, he still had a very, very good season once he came on board here for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. And just so impressed to see what this guy's going to be able to do next season. Joshua Watson currently back in second, Jeff Marble in third. And I'm surprised Jeff is not able to find a little bit more speed right now. It seemed like when he was sitting back there, I thought maybe he was saving a little bit for when these guys finally did get single file. But the 15 has actually fallen back a little bit now to the back bumper of Austin Fitzgerald. And Danny Gutierrez breaking into the top 5 now. So JBR E-Racing has 2 drivers currently sitting inside the top 5. It's a great run for them up to this point. Taking a look here at, well, we showed it actually during break. Richard Elliott currently back in the 22nd position. He's got things all sorted out now, but we showed you during break a little bit of contact off of turn 4. Sent him through the grass down the front stretch, but he was able to save it. Kept going, didn't get any damage, and it did not draw the caution. That's another one of the JBR E-Racing drivers currently in that 22nd position. But as always, Richard, we appreciate you carrying the onboard camera for us. And as we noted with Richard, he is one of the guys that's looking to see if they can maybe bring home some extra money at the end of the season by winning that non-playoff driver points battle started at the beginning of the playoffs. Speaking of playoffs, taking a look at the playoff picture, as that's something that's going to matter here as we continue to move through, and not that one, but rather this screen. This is what we're looking like here entering Texas after the last race in the round of 16. Alan Pajari, Brian Curry, Johnny McCulchuk, and Bill Benedict unfortunately did not make it into this round. You see that is why they are in orange. The round of 12, Jeff Shutt was the last man that made it in, Scott Glasso. And then you see the rest of the crew. Brian Conklin coming to life here at the end. He said he felt like he had more to give, at least to maybe make it to the round of 12, potentially the round of 8 for these guys before he was ready to be done for the season. And if he continues like he is, could have a chance of making it to the Final 4. And the number that stands out to you there the most, no surprise, Joshua Watson with 11 wins on the season. Still looking to tack on even more here before it's all said and done. We talked about the schedule earlier, where we're going to head next. The fastest track in all of NASCAR, the high banks of Talladega Super Speedway. And then on October 9th, we're going to head to the Charlotte Roval. That'll cap off the round of 12. Round of 8 is going to be 3, I would say, technical yet tracks that a lot of the drivers do actually indeed like. And to start us off the round of 8, it's going to be Las Vegas, one of the most fun 1.5 miles in the series. Homestead after that, going to see a lot of guys trying to run the wall. And Martinsville is going to be the cutoff race to decide your Final 4, which will, of course, be at Phoenix, the track that we were at earlier this season. And that will be 156 laps to crown a champion. Fitzgerald and Joshua Watson racing really hard here currently for third. Fitzgerald was able to catch him, but Joshua Watson, I don't think, wants to give it up that easy. And with 81 laps complete, I guess I should note that they are well inside the fuel window at this point. It's just all a matter of when they want to pit. Looking at that points battle that we talked about, Richard Elliott's in the mix for. He currently sits 4th in that battle. Jeffrey Souza was 1st. After his night tonight, though, he is definitely, to say, going to fall out of 1st. Thomas O'Hara was 2nd. See if he can move up. Adrian Watts was 3rd. So Richard Elliott has a chance to make a lot of ground here tonight in this race. We'll know next week how it all was able to pan out. Still no pit stop yet from Brandon Bikey. At the latest, I mean, to get good enough use out of the tires, I think maybe at the latest these guys would wait till around lap 100. But I just feel like that seems kind of late with the tire wear. If you're one of the guys that's maybe struggled a little bit with handling, I think you got to go in a little bit earlier. Try something different, especially if you want a chance at winning this race. I think the fear for some of these guys is that at a track like Texas, when you pit, you're guaranteed to go a lap down. And if we get a caution while you're trapped a lap down, it could put you in a really, really bad position for the rest of the race. And that's, I think, one of the reasons a lot of these guys maybe choose to stay out a little bit longer than everybody else. And just in case we do get that late caution, tires start to get slick. The mental aspect starts to play in for a lot of guys. Making just a slight mistake can cost you big time. Here we go. Cody Richardson's going to be the first of them into the pits. The 46 machine has had some speed tonight, but really started to struggle a little bit in this second half of the race. So he brings it down. He's going to take himself 4 tires and fuel, and he'll be good to go the rest of the way. And he chose to pit, interestingly enough, with exactly 50 laps to go. And so that's still a pretty long run on these tires. I think his biggest hope here is maybe he can pick up some track position and then get a caution, go down, take tires, maybe get himself even out and try to regroup and almost get like a fresh start to a certain degree. Nobody else is going to come in. Looks like Jeffrey Souza. Kyle Oakley, looks like he has went a lap down, so he may have been one of the guys as well that decided to pit early. I think he may have had other issues because it looks like he's actually being scored multiple laps down as it stands. But we do have Sean Kaltenbach and a couple other guys. So Cody Richardson and Sean Kaltenbach, both a lap down. They have both pit early. And Brandon Bikey, you wonder if he's getting any information on this and if that's going to determine whether or not he pits here in the next 10 laps or so. But he is checked out on the rest of the field. He's got a 2.3 second gap over second place Austin Fitzgerald. Joshua Watson maybe used his stuff up just a little too much too early, as Danny Gutierrez also able to get back around him, but still running inside the top 5. And Brian Curry, another one of the Team Watson Racing drivers, he's looking to break inside the top 4, currently sitting in 5th right now. Jacob Musso up to 6th. He's having a great run. Tracy Powers, I mean, it gets really, really spread out. Jared Bundy, he's going to bring down the pits in the number 6 car. And nobody's going to try any sort of strategy here in a sense of 2 tires or no tires. You will see every single driver that comes down jack up the left and right side. They want 4 fresh tires and full fuel, just in case we get a couple green light checkers. And it looked like Jared Bundy overshot his stall just slightly right there. Maybe going to cost him a second or 2. The hardest thing with the next gens is that the pit stops are just so quick that you make just a slight error, in that case just slightly overshooting your box, and it just costs you so much time on track. As we've had some more pit stops here, and it looks like it is finally going to be your leaders. Brandon Bikey brought it down, and we will see if he can exit the pits from where he entered. See Austin Fitzgerald also coming down, just getting into his box. Brian Curry behind Bikey. And going around to the right side, it looks like Curry and Bikey actually both about even right now, so Bikey should get a pretty good jump since he's got the closer to exit pit stall. Joshua Watson, though, he had a very, very nice pit stop, and he's going to actually make up a position and a little bit of time right here on Brandon Bikey through it. Getting off this apron is very, very tricky, though. We'll watch it from Joshua Watson's onboard. You hear the back tires sliding around a little bit. Cold tires, it's not an easy task to do. Gets up to speed and then puts the hammer down as they get onto the back straightaway. And that looks like that's going to leave Tracy Powers, Jeff Shutt, Richard Elliott, Thomas O'Hara, and Cody Matthews as the 5 cars that have still not pitted. Andrew Neidert, he's got some right front damage, and we have seen him tag that outside wall at least once off of turn 2, but I think it's been more than once here tonight. And as we noted that this will be everybody's last set of tires, looks like track temp has cooled down just a little bit, as it is now, looks like 3:30 sim time. And I thought we had an issue with the car real quick, but that was old data refreshing. And that track temp cooling down about 4 degrees is not going to do too much. I don't think drivers will feel a big difference. The main news that everybody pulls out of that is they don't have to worry about their cars handling worse. As here comes Tracy Powers from the lead, qualified 2nd. He's going to make his final stop right here. And so Jeff Marble, I'm not sure if he tried a lap or 2 of differing strategy over Brandon Bikey, but it doesn't look like it works out, and now Joshua Watson is going to go flying around the 15. Jeff looking like he was giving him a little bit of a friendly fake out there, as I'm going to block you. Pulled that guy, realized he doesn't have the speed to really hang with him, at least not right now. There's a look at Jeff Marble to the outside. Johnny Mikulchuk, one of our drivers carrying an onboard camera here tonight. Looks like we had somebody retire from the race, by the way. We haven't had a chance to shout out or talk about Johnny here tonight, currently sitting in that 23rd position. Looking for more spots. Talked about wasn't able to advance to the round of 12, but still the playoff berth was a good deal for the 72 this season. Wasn't able to find victory lane in the regular season and still hasn't been able to find it yet through the playoffs. But next week at Talladega, if you're looking for an underdog pick, 72 might be your man. Thomas O'Hara, talked about a good finish for him tonight would help him in that non-playoff driver points battle. And right now he is leading the way here at Texas. Cody Matthews up to 2nd. Brandon Bikey is 3rd. So once they all cycle out, The battle for the lead would be between Joshua Watson and Brandon Bikey, assuming that Watson can catch back up. Bikey just continues to put down a blistering pace for now. And as they all do catch up, everybody's trying to regroup. How about a little crank it up here from Texas? Here we go. And that's going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy. Saw a couple fierce battles there. I think the fiercest one, though, was probably Cody Richardson's move around Sean Kaltenbach. Man, he side drafted him really, really aggressively, but it worked out for the 46, and that now bumps him back up inside the top 10. He sits 9th. Kaltenbach, the last one, inside the top 10 now, but he's got Andrew Kotska, Richardson's teammate, hot on his tail. It looks like we are going to see two of the last remaining guys out on track make a pit stop this time. Thomas O'Hara, one of them to go in that time. And now we're just going to be waiting, looks like Cody Matthews to bring it down to the pits, and then it will cycle Brandon Bikey back out to the lead. There's Joshua Watson in picture. And Jeff Marble, I'll tell you what, as quick as Watson got by Jeff, I thought that Jeff was out of this thing as Jeffrey Souza is going to get up slightly into the outside wall. But Jeff is hanging within distance of Joshua Watson, so I think once Josh gets there and these two start battling, that'll pull Jeff Marble up into this mix as well, and maybe he'll have a chance at it. But a caution at any point from this point on would throw a huge wrench in the strategy. It would be everybody comes down to take tires, and then it's all go from there. Here's Tyler Marble working to the outside of Jacob Musso. Musso in that 95 Eddie's Hot Rods machine. I believe it's actually Musso's Speed Shop. Musso's Speed Shop boys, but I think it's Fast Eddie's Hot Rods car. And behind him, Ryan Haynes and Jared Bundy looking to pick up some positions. Ryan Haynes has had a great run through the night here. Talked about earlier he needed to pick up a couple more positions. He's done that. He is now up to 12th, 2 positions out of the top 10, and he sees those 2 positions just in front of him as Musso is going to work to the inside of Tyler Marble. You see Cody Matthews coming out of the pits. So he's made his final stop, and now the race is on for the lead. Brandon Bikey's got it. Joshua Watson wants it. Jeff Marble, the 3rd car in line. And Jeff right now sits about a second behind your leader. Joshua Watson is within 2/10 now, and I think he's going to get there. And as split up as the track is right now, it's going to be close on whether or not Brandon Bikey or Joshua Watson, depending on who's leading at the time, is going to have to worry about any lap traffic. The 13's just got to hold a steady wheel, make Watson go around the hard way. It seemed like Bikey being on the inside last time ended up working out pretty well. At least on the long run, I think that made Watson wear out his tires more. So I think if you're Brandon, force Josh to go around the outside, but before he gets to you, just continue to run the same line you're running, taking away his air by staying on the bottom. The closer that Josh gets, the harder it's going to be for him to make up any more time, but he continues to close the gap. And the draft that you get down the back straightaway and on the front stretch here is really what keeps everybody so in tow. I mean, you look at it, turns 1 and 2 is kind of the slow turn, but then once you get off at 2, it's so much throttle time through 3 and 4 that it kind of becomes almost, to a degree, one big straightaway. Just a little bit of throttle play through 3 and 4, and you can see Watson slipping and sliding around in the back. He's looking for grip and all in the process of maybe wearing his tires out. I think at this point his goal is going to be he's going to get there, and if he does get there, he's going to try to make the pass as soon as he can. He knows he needs to get in this clean air as soon as possible if he wants a chance at passing Bikey. Yeah, you hear it there. He is really, really pushing the right front right now. And normally I would say, I don't know how I feel about the strategy, but I've seen him pull off wins in more ways than I've seen probably anybody else in the series since I've been broadcasting it, so I certainly wouldn't question whatever he's got planned as of right now. But it's now 30 laps to go here at Texas. Danny Gutierrez has caught up to the back bumper of Jeff Marble, looking to the inside. Could it be potentially a JBR 1-2 finish? Gutierrez would have a lot of work to do, but could certainly finish in the podium, as that is now where he's going to move to. Thomas O'Hara in the 07, that is not for position. He is looking to get a lap back. Next closest guy is Brian Curry. He sits about a second right now behind Jeff Marble. And I think Jeff tried a short pitch strategy. It just doesn't seem like it was the strategy that worked out too well here. But we've seen it work out before for Jeff. Is looking at his driver cam right now. He is really, really fighting the handling on that car. Kyle Oakley, one of the guys carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. Not a great night for Kyle. Was hoping for a bit more, but nonetheless, as always, we appreciate you, Kyle, hanging out with the driver cam, and handling just may not have been there for the 17. I think he also may have had some technical difficulty. You mix that together at a track like Texas, and it does not take long to find yourself multiple laps down, as the 17 is right now. And it looks like Thomas O'Hara, who is currently a lap down, he'll probably get that lap back here sooner or later. But as of right now, he is in the lucky dog position. Cody Matthews, the second car in line for the lucky dog. And those two staying out as long as they did, I think they were just hoping maybe they could catch a break with a caution. But everyone's just so spread out at this point, I don't know if it's going to happen. Bikey continuing to lead here, though, as Watson now fading a little bit back to 0.4 of a second. And you can't put the thought out of your mind of maybe does Danny Gutierrez have something to bring to these front two. I think Watson pushed with all he had just to get up to the 13 of Brandon Bikey, and I think he may finally be out of equipment to use, and by equipment mainly tires. But he's continuing to try here through 3 and 4. If he's able to hold on and get a good run, that's going to be his best guess. I think where he's really losing a lot of time is here through 1 and 2, and the draft is strong, but it's just not pulling him enough to maintain. Well, he gets in really, really deep. I think that's where it's maybe hurting him a little bit, as you see just he gets so loose on exit. But Brandon Bikey, you saw right there in the same picture frame out of his cockpit view, he got really, really loose on exit there as well. And so Watson tries to get in the throttle, almost match the line right here of the 13, and just gets a little bit loose off of the corner. It's just playing kind of that mind chess game right here of who's going to slip up more and who's going to slip up first. But Danny Gutierrez doing the best job out of all of them right here. Taking a look and ignore where it says round of 16. One of the drivers who moved on to the round of 12. And he is still in the playoff picture, and he's looking for more. If he could pull out a win here tonight, and not only would it be his second win of the season and he'd be locked in, but that is great momentum for a driver who is phenomenal at super speedways to carry into Talladega next week. Yellow flag is out, and it looks like it is for Jacob Musso. And yep, sure enough, the 95 has came to a stop at the end of the back straightaway, backs it up, gets it back going. But oh man, I don't think Brandon Bikey wanted to see that. And this is going to cause for some chaos right here. Comes with 25 laps to go. But I can tell you there's a lot of guys in the field who are happy to see that. They want some fresh tires and another chance at it. And this looks like 3 wide. That's just going to get a little too tight. Let's back it up here. Take a look from the chopper view. Brian Conklin 3 wide with Jared Bundy. Bundy's going to get loose. And the 6 car coming down the track either makes contact or maybe slight netcode with the 37, the front right of him. And that sends Conklin down into Musso. Musso goes for a spin, just barely scrapes the wall. So no real damage for that. Well, floors it back into it there, but I don't think he gave himself much damage Got a little scary there when he came back up on the track, but everybody able to avoid him. Caution had been out before then, though, to be fair. Let's get a couple more views of this one here. I think there was actual contact between these two, and it was close. I think they would have made some contact. Just Jared Bundy on old tires, getting a little bit loose, hard racing. Nobody really at fault for that one. And like I said, Musso goes for a slide, but he does a good job here of keeping it off the inside wall. It is a hard thing to do here at Texas. There's just not much room between that outside wall and the inside wall. And usually when you spin, you're going to hit something. You see Musso roll out of it just a little bit right here. And it's just enough to bring him to a stop before he gets any major damage. Taking a look from the wall cam. Man, Conklin almost T-boned him again when the 95 came back across the track, but he was able to get by. It'll take one more view here from the gearbox. Jacob Musso. He'd been having a pretty good run earlier on in this race. Started to fade a little bit there towards the end. But looks like we're going to have a lot of guys trying to get a lap back via the waiver rounds. We'll see who the lucky dog goes to. But as they run right now, Brandon Bikey is your leader. Danny Gutierrez in second. Joshua Watson in third. Jeff Marble fourth with Austin Fitzgerald fifth. Brian Curry in sixth. Cody Richardson seventh. Sean Kaltenbach eighth. And it looks like Andrew Kotska in ninth with Tyler Marble rounding out your top 10. And they all came down to take tires. No surprise there. It's going to be probably, let's see if we got the one to go signal this time. I don't think we did. And sure enough, we didn't. So it'll probably be about a 21 lap to go restart, assuming that we do get that one to go next time. That's not a lot of laps here around this fast mile and a half, but it really opens the door for Joshua Watson here. Has been great on the short run tonight, but just lost speed a little bit there in the long run as we had ran so long on the tires that he just started to fade. Jeff Marble, same deal for him, has been really good through the short and middle portions of the run tonight. Fits right in the length of 20 laps. And you got to wonder, what can guys like Fitzgerald, Richardson, and Brian Curry, what can they do? And then, of course, all eyes going to be on the rookie right here, Brandon Bikey, who sits in the front of the pack. Not a playoff driver, but is looking for a win here tonight, and he's in great position to do it. He's had a very fast car. Has run a very clean race, but he's going to have to keep everything together here for what's going to be probably another 21 laps or so. Let's see if we can actually pull in somebody here for an interview before we get this green flag rolling. And I'd like to talk to Brandon Bikey here if we can find him. Sure enough, there he is. Let's see if we can get a quick word with the rookie leading the field. Hey, Brandon, this is all set up in the booth. You got a copy?
Awesome.
Good. Well, man, you've had a fast car all race. You've led the most laps so far here tonight. But a sort of late caution like this always causes for a lot of chaos. What are you expecting here for this green flag run here to the finish?
Not good news for us. Long run car. I wasn't just taking it so easy on that last run, and they caught me, but I was just starting to pull back away because I let them burn their stuff up. So I think I had that in the bag easy. I've had it gone green. My car is not great on the short run, so I'm going to need a miracle to stay in front of these guys that have a little bit geared for short run setups here.
We've seen tires be such a big play. Is there any thought of, if maybe you lack a little bit in the short run here, we get a caution halfway through, if you've lost some track position, do you go in and take an extra set of tires, or at this point, do you just got to keep as much track position as possible?
Yeah, I think at this point, everyone's done pitting, so it's just, you got what you got. So I'm going to try to stay out front here and do what I can, but hopefully these boys will race behind me pretty hard and burn their stuff up, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. We'll see what we can do, though. I'm just playing spoiler.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it here as you get ready to take the green flag. You've been good all night. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, Austin.
I stand corrected earlier. I thought he was one of the BMP racing drivers, but sits in the Team Watson Racing channel. Nonetheless, here we go. Pace car is going to pull off. It's going to be a 21-lap shootout, Texas style. Here we go into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is in the air. Not the best jump for Brandon Bikey, but he gets a little shot from Joshua Watson. That could be a good strategy. Needs to keep Danny Gutierrez side by side. Watson's going to look to the low side. Big block by Bikey, though. Can he make it stick? He does. That's going to send Watson up the track a little bit. It's a mad scramble out back. Danny Gutierrez is going to wash up. This is going to give Watson a big run down the back straightaway. Brandon Bikey may have to look for another block into 3, but Watson's not quite able to get there. Joshua Watson now going to look to the high side. Haven't seen anyone really make it work tonight but that 0-1 car. And now he's got to run. Brandon Bikey looks to block it. Nothing there. Back to the low side. Goes to 13. Danny Gutierrez is going to bring himself right back into the mix. 20 laps to go. And I don't know if we're going to make that long with the racing these guys are doing right now. Brian Curry and Sean Kaltenbach. A couple drivers looking to tuck in line. And a little bit surprisingly here, everybody looking to tuck in line except for your top 2. And now the 13 under pressure from the 08 of Danny Gutierrez as well. You know, Danny's going to get a little impatient here. He wants a shot at the win, and he's got a car just as fast as his teammate right now. Bikey's still able to draw even. If he can hold him off for potentially, I would say, 10 to 15 laps in this run, he might have a good shot at the last 5 laps. But Watson is absolutely pinning that 13 down on exit. And is it going to work? No, it's not. The 0-1 got really tight. Big block all the way to the bottom. Goes the 0-1 of Joshua Watson. Now back to the top. We had smoke out back as we had cars hitting the wall. Chaos all over the track right now. And now Joshua Watson with clean air, but Danny Gutierrez was able to sneak by in the same picture frame. And now we'll see if he can maybe try to make a move on his teammate. There he goes to the inside. The 08 of Danny Gutierrez trying to make a move on Joshua Watson. He's going to get to his left rear quarter panel here. Going to have to side draft it down the back straightaway. This could pull Brandon Bikey back into the mix as these two continue to battle it out. Inside line, the preferred lane to go here. Joshua Watson, though, has been making it work on the outside. Can Danny Gutierrez get his second win of the season? First win in the playoffs here at Texas. A lot of hard racing still out back. Jeff Marble just in front of Cody Richardson, who battles hard right now with Brian Curry. Tyler Marble just behind those two. He's racing with Sean Kaltenbach. 48 got really, really loose right there. And the single file action that I thought we were going to get lined up with there off that start, what it seemed like at least for a lap or two, has quickly gotten back to double file through most of the field. And you see Brandon Bikey has settled in now to that 3rd position. If he can hold there and ride while these two continue to race it out, could have a chance here towards the end. Tyler Marble still looking to make moves on the outside line. And now Danny Gutierrez, he has gotten clear of Joshua Watson, and he's looking to pull away off of turn 2. Further out back, a lot more movement. Everybody scrambling for any positions they can get. 3 wide. Is it going to work? Ryan Haynes in the middle. Almost some contact between him and Kotska. Now there is contact between him and Alan Pajari. We got one in the grass. It's Brian Curry. Curry back up on track. They're going to go 3 wide. It's not going to work. Big hit is to 39. Up in the air. Caution is out. Ryan Haynes is destroyed as he comes to a grinding halt at the high groove in turn 1. The 39 car is junked. Brings out your 3rd caution of the night. Multiple drivers involved in this one. And the chaos off of turn 4 was not able to get sorted out before we got down to turn 1. Let's take a look. These 3 had been 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. Brian Curry got on the grass. I'm not sure what had sent Curry onto the grass. So let's back it up to that point. Curry racing behind Cody Richardson and Tyler Marble. And Cody slips up. Brian looks to the inside, makes some contact. That's what sends the 28 down. And then here comes the 39 rather, of Ryan Haynes in the middle. And he just gets up a little bit. Actually, Pajari may have came down a little bit there on Ryan. Back this up a little more, see if we can see it good from the chopper cam. Now watch the 39 of Ryan Haynes in the middle. Oh, that looks more or less like Alan Pajari came down a little bit. Again, it was really tight. Nothing egregious there by Pajari. Might have thought that Haynes was going to start turning a little bit earlier. And once Pajari gets down into Haynes, take one more view of that contact. Yeah, there's no net code. It's full contact. Watch this hit right here by Ryan Haynes. Dead 90-degree angle right into the bend of the tri-oval. Bam! I mean, he gets launched over. Brian Conklin, Tracy Powers takes a massive hit as well. That destroys both of those cars. Let's take some different looks at this one. There's a big hit for Ryan Haynes, and then Tracy Powers just gets clipped, tries to save it. Boom. Take a look at the onboard here for Ryan Haynes. This is going to be sort of a blindside hit. You don't see it coming. You can't even really do anything as a driver. And so the big hit for Ryan Haynes brings out your third caution of the night with 13 laps to go. I know Brandon Bikey said he didn't expect anybody to pit the rest of the way. That could be the case, but man, I would think there's an advantage here taking tires still with 13 laps to go. But doesn't look like any of the front runners took tires. Maybe a couple guys further towards the back that are trying a little bit of strategy. And then, of course, the guys coming in to fix damage from that incident, but that's about it. And Matthew Cox says go to Conklin on board, and you know what? That's the man that we saw the 39 flyover, and that is a great idea. Let's go take a look at this one. Brian Conklin, the 37, went under and is actually looking for him here. I'm not seeing him right now. There he is. In 11th, the playoff driver, and that's a close moment that if he just barely makes it to the next round, he's going to be remembering. Watch this. We'll play it slow for you. There's the hit. Boom. Look at the 39. Oh, my goodness. I don't know how Brian doesn't make any contact with him, but somehow, someway he doesn't. Watch this hit, though, for Ryan Haynes. I mean, I know it's virtual cars, but we just don't see hits that hard that often here in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. First big wreck of the night. And it looks like, did we get the one to go signal this time? We have not. But it is going to be Danny Gutierrez leading the way here as we go back to green. Joshua Watson in second. Brandon Bikey in third. Austin Fitzgerald back in fourth. Jeff Marble in fifth. Tyler Marble in sixth. Cody Richardson seventh. Sean Kaltenbach in eighth. Andrew Kotska in ninth. And Jared Bundy rounding out your top 10. And looks like we got a couple more viewers towards the end of this race. And I'll tell you what, y'all picked a good time to join because this thing has gotten exciting. That last restart was absolutely crazy, but phenomenal racing. Joshua Watson seems like such a smooth driver, but man, when he wants to get aggressive, you can see the moves that he's capable of making. But how about Danny Gutierrez right now? The 08 out of nowhere with a phenomenal second half of the race. Continued to crawl his way to the front. Caught a caution. And now he finds himself in the lead. But the work's not done yet. He is going to have to try to control the rest of this field for what's going to be 10 laps to go, it looks like, once we get the green. And Ryan Haynes says, I'm on my way to the hospital, jokingly. And I was going to say, I didn't see the window net come down. So I'm glad to hear confirmation that Ryan's at least okay. But going back a little bit further in the field, not sure if we had anybody really try tire strategy. We do have a couple cars a lap down. And then, of course, some guys that are out of the race at this point. There's Tracy Powers in 24th. His night came to an end after that wreck. And there's the damage for Ryan Haynes. Both of those cars looking similar with the damage that they received. But it looks like right now we have 20 cars still on the lead lap. And I believe the first man a lap down is Richard Elliott in 21st. And as we go down the back straightaway, two teammates racing each other. And, you know, I always thought this is an interesting perspective. Joshua Watson, he's fast at every single track we go to. Danny Gutierrez has had a lot of speed. From a team perspective, how aggressive do you get racing your teammate here if you're Joshua Watson? Knowing that if Danny Gutierrez can get the win here tonight, it would give them both a better shot of advancing. We'll have to see how they decide to sort that all out. I'm noticing here on the front of Joshua Watson's car, looks like a thanks to, can't read what it all says. I see mom and dad on the front. Some sort of tribute scheme. Good looking one too. See if he can find it in victory lane. All right, here we go. Pace car pulls off. It's going to be a 10-lap shootout to decide your winner here at Texas. Going from the TV tower, we're going to see all the action we can. Green flag is back in the air. Big stack up on the inside. Started with Brandon Bikey, and it's going to translate out back. Looks like everybody was able to save it, but that gives the outside line a big surge of momentum as Joshua Watson's going to get clear of his teammate down into turn one. And it was just a little bit of a slip-up from Danny Gutierrez, and you got to wonder, can he recover now to catch back his teammate? Big contact out back. We had 2 or 3 guys get into the outside safer barrier. They all stay clean, though, through 3 and 4. Gutierrez is going to race Fitzgerald hard, but look at the run from Austin Fitzgerald. He gets clear of the 08. Now he's going to set his sights on the leader. Watson was able to stretch his lead out to about 0.3 of a second. I thought Fitzgerald got away. He didn't. Danny Gutierrez was able to hang on. The longer these two race, the quicker Joshua Watson's going to be able to get away. Brandon Bikey still side by side with Tyler Marble. A lot of cars up the track. More contact. Curry's around. 2 around. How many is this one going to collect? Yellow flag back in the air as Brian Curry and Brian Conklin come to a stop. Curry looked like he got the worst of it. And can't tell if Brian Conklin, oh, he did make contact with the inside wall with the left front. He's got pretty heavy damage. Brings out your 4th caution of the night. Just the nature of the aggressive racing here in the playoffs. Now, the lap before this, we saw a lot of guys make contact with the wall off of turn 2. And it's going to happen here again. Brian Curry, does he just get tight here? Or does he try to squeeze in a gap? He just gets tight. But more than him getting tight, looks like Jared Bundy got even tighter. They both wash up, but Bundy gets into the outside wall right here. And a little bit of a bounce as Brian Curry got tight too, so they make contact. This sends the 28 of Brian Curry down into the inside wall. He takes a big hit. And then there's the 37 of Brian Conklin shortly after. Not quite as big of a hit, but still enough to do heavy damage to that 37 car. And potentially going to ruin his chances of a good finish here tonight. And based off what we saw from the last wreck and this wreck, I'm going to say Brian Curry might be joining Ryan Haynes here pretty soon. Another massive, massive impact. I'm surprised he didn't shoot all the way back up on track. And luckily, no one else has collected. But you saw that blew the motor on the 28 of Brian Curry, so his night is definitely going to come to an end. A couple more angles of it. And there's the ride on board here for Brian Curry. Almost got stuck in the wall on the second one. Guys, just going to continue to get more and more aggressive as the laps continue to wind down. I think that was a big break for Fitzgerald and Gutierrez to see if they can sort it out a little better on this restart. Watson pulled away there because his teammates, Danny Gutierrez, just didn't get the best restart. It gave Watson a chance to get clear into one, didn't have to worry about racing anybody, and he had just put the sails down and he was getting ready to fly. Brandon Bikey still up in the top 4, but these consistent short runs is not playing in the favor of the 13 car. Nobody going to take tires at this point. It is all stay out and try to maintain track position. We're going to catch all of it here at the end. Going to take, looks like hopefully our final side-by-side break here of the night. We'll be back for the green flag. Stick with us. Back live, getting ready for hopefully the final restart here tonight for the Texas Fall 200 in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. First race in the round of 12, looking to crown somebody that's going to go to the next round here potentially if it's a playoff driver that gets the job done. And I mean, the only non-playoff driver in the top 10 right now is going to be Brandon Bikey and Jared Bundy. So we're going to see what happens here, though. Got the one to go signal last lap. It's going to be Watson on the outside, Fitzgerald on the inside, and Watson chose the outside here. Interestingly enough, we'll see how it pans out for him. Worked well on the last restart. We'll see if he can make it all happen in the same way again. Green flag is back in the air. It's going to be a 4-lap shootout to decide it at Texas. Watson didn't get the best run there. He's not going to get clear. They almost go 3 wide, down into 1. Tyler Marble looked for a move, nothing there. And now Joshua Watson is going to really lay it to the door of Austin Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald sliding up a little bit. Danny Gutierrez makes some contacts, trying to hold on to it. Down to the apron he goes. He's able to save it, but he's going to lose about 5 to 7 positions in the melee. And further back, they are still 3 wide. Everybody's scrambling for any positions they can find up front now. Tyler Marble with a big block on Danny Gutierrez. Joshua Watson trying to pull away. Austin Fitzgerald trying to track him down. 3 laps to go now as they go through turns 1 and 2. Watson just needs to run a very smooth line here. Fitzgerald, I don't know if he's got enough for him. Continues to pull away a little bit at a time, but right now he wants to see the white flag. It's going to have to go around one more time before he sees it and makes this race official. And out back, they continue to battle hard right here. Andrew Nieder looking to the inside of Johnny McCulchuk. Just a couple rows ahead of him, Sean Kaltenbach and Jeff Marble. 2 more guys that are stuck on the outside for now. And it is indeed 2 laps to go. Back up front, Austin Fitzgerald trying every little thing he's got to catch up to Joshua Watson. He gets another really good draft down the back straightaway here. Can he hold the momentum through 3 and 4? Drafts up, and at this point, he's going to have to push it a little bit harder than he wants to, and you've seen him doing exactly that. Watson left him a little bit of clean air right there. Fitzgerald had to bail out of the throttle, but he's going to get a big run down the front straightaway. Here we go. White flag is in the air. One more lap around. Who is going to get it, Fitzgerald or Watson? Fitzgerald looking to the inside, nothing there through 1 and 2. He's going to try to play conservative, set himself up one more time down the back straightaway. No run yet. Joshua Watson, one more set of corners. They're wrecking. Big out back. Andrew Nieder, big hit into the inside wall. Up front, Fitzgerald, final dive. Not going to be enough to the inside. Does he have one more look to the outside? It's going to be a finish and a win for Joshua Watson. He wins in the round of 12, and he will be advancing to the round of 8. Holds off Austin Fitzgerald, who brings home second, and it's the rookie, Brandon Bikey, finishing on the podium tonight in 3rd. What a phenomenal finish and win for Joshua Watson. Fitzgerald had me guessing all the way up to the start-finish line. Going into 3, thought Watson had it. Fitzgerald did a phenomenal job closing up the gap. Just couldn't quite get to him there. Coming to the start-finish line, maybe if he had one more lap, things would have been different. But Joshua Watson is going to add his 12th win of the season, and it comes at the 1.5 mile Texas Motor Speedway. Won in the last round of the playoffs and wins in this one. And he's going to burn it down again. A phenomenal win for the JBRE Racing driver. And man, oh man, Danny Gutierrez was able to finish up 5th. So a good night for 2 of the JBRE Racing playoff drivers. But Danny Gutierrez is going to be thinking to himself, what if? Seemed like he had the speed, but one slip up there cost him a chance at it towards the end. And Richard Elliott's going to bring it in, do a little bit of celebrating with his teammate. And as Watson continues to burn it down, let's take a look at your finishing results here tonight for the Texas Fall 200. Talked about Watson getting the win. Austin Fitzgerald brings home 2nd. Brandon Bikey in 3rd. Tyler Marble finishes up in 4th with Danny Gutierrez in 5th. Cody Richardson in 6th. Jeff Marble in 7th. Andrew Kotska in 8th. Sean Kaltenbach in 9th with Jared Bundy rounding out your top 10. Back in 11th, it's Johnny McCulchuk. Jeff Shutt in 12th. Glenn Grigsby in 13th with Scott Glasso in 14th. Jacob Musso in 15th. Todd Shiro finishes up in 16th. Cody Matthews in 17th. Richard Elliott in 18th with Andrew Nieder in 19th. Brian Conklin in 20th. Kyle Oakley 21st. Thomas O'Hara 22nd. Brian Curry in 23rd. Tracy Powers 24th. Alan Pajari in 25th. Ryan Haynes in 26th. Jeffrey Souza in 27th. And Brett Spod rounding out the field tonight in 28th. We're going to go get your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back here at Texas. All right, and we are here with your third place finisher, the rookie Brandon Bikey. Brandon, you got a copy?
I got a copy.
All right, well, a good finish here tonight. Not quite the result maybe you were expecting. Had a phenomenal car all night, but you bring home a podium. And whether you're in the playoffs or not, how important is this for bringing momentum into next season?
I'm just kind of here and there, so I don't know. As far as that goes, I just wanted to run well and play spoiler this week, and Texas is a fun track. I like I said before, I kind of wish it had gone green there for the end of that run, but it's fun. There's some great quality racers here, and it's a good time. So,
well, as much chaos as we saw on some of those late restarts, how did you manage to avoid all the chaos?
I mean, I was just trying to hold on to it. Like I said, my short run was just junk, so I loosened it up on the last pit stop to just try to get a little bit more speed. But I knew, unfortunately, that Watson and Fitzgerald and those guys, Gutierrez, they were all going to have a bit better setup on that short run. So I was just trying to hold on, man, trying to stay out of trouble. I didn't want to affect the playoffs or anything like that. So just trying to race clean and finish the best I could.
Well, a good finish indeed. Before we let you go tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out? And I realized I was actually muted for it. I was wondering why I couldn't hear me. I was going to say, before we let you go tonight, Brandon, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, definitely want to thank Kenny Coppola first and foremost, man. He creates some awesome setups for Team Watson Racing, and it's just it's so fast. So, first and foremost, obviously him, and then just my teammates, Sean. Everybody that helps out with Team Watson Racing. It's just a great group. So, Brian Curry, Andrew Nider, everybody was just so good. So, I love racing with those guys. I want to thank them. I want to thank my wife, Lindsay. She supports me doing all this. And my dad, he watches a lot of these races. So, and then, that's it. You for doing this broadcast. It's awesome. It's one of the best broadcasts I've seen. And I've been around sim racing since NASCAR 4. So.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. Thanks for talking to us, Brandon, and congrats again on that third place finish. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Congrats to the other top three.
All right, and now we're going to bring you your second place finisher, Austin Fitzgerald. Austin up at the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Austin.
Well, you come up just a little bit short, man. You had me guessing through the entirety of 3 and 4 on the last lap. Couldn't tell if you were going to get there or not. What more do you think you needed on that final restart?
Well, I got to go back and watch the replay, but I feel like Watson definitely pinched me. I knew why he was taking the high line there is because he wanted to pinch me down low, and so I had no momentum, coming off of 2 right after the restart. And it worked. I mean, he's in all the right to do that. And yeah, I couldn't get back to the throttle without getting into him. And then on that last lap, I was planning on going high, but then he stayed up high, and then I dove back down, but I technically wasn't there yet, and he threw a bit of a block there. But I was just asking him about it over Discord. I was like, where were you going in turn 3 and 4 right there? And he's like, I was just trying to see where you're going first, and I was going to take that same line. So yeah, it worked out on his part. Yeah, that's good racing. It was a lot of fun.
Well, with the finish here tonight, you're setting yourself up in pretty good position to make it to the round of 8, but the next 2 races very chaotic. I want to focus in more on next week, though. Talladega Super Speedway, anything can happen. Do you feel like you got to play it safe, or do you try to go for the win?
Well, for me, I feel like I'm safer when I push it at plate tracks, because for me, it's just paid off being up at the front. Because when you're in the mid-pack or you're in the back playing it safe, that's when you get caught up in someone else's, wreck. So I'm going to try to, keep it up towards the front, play that strategy, and just go hard all race. I'm not the greatest super speedway racer, but I got a teammate on my side, Alan Pajari. So yeah, we'll see what we can do.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for talking to us. Before we let you go, though, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out tonight?
My family, as always, my sponsor, Acoustic Design Systems. If you're in the Las Vegas area, go to acousticdesignlv.com for all your audio video needs. And then I want to thank my team, Dynamic Autosport, and how great they've been. They've been a huge help with setups and everything, and I feel like it's really really helped me improve over the second half of the season. So special thanks to Alan. He's a great teammate, great coach, all the above. So yeah, Dynamic Autosports, they've been great. And yeah, looking forward to next week.
All right. Well, again, congrats on that second place finish, and we'll see you at Talladega.
Thank you, Austin.
All right. Now we're going to bring your winner, Joshua Watson. Josh, this is all set up for the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, you tack on your 12th win of the season, second one in the playoffs. Man, you had to fight for it tonight. Seemed like maybe the car wasn't quite what it's been on the long run. We got that strand of short runs at the end. Tell us about those final 2 laps and how you held off Austin Fitzgerald.
Oh man, that was a battle right there. It was definitely nerve-wracking. That whole last caution there, under the caution, talk with teammates, do we go inside, do we go outside? And believe it or not, like I've told a lot of guys, I'll watch these Sunday races, and as close as iRacing is to the real life, I've studied what they do and been able to apply it here, and it's worked. And that was all I could think was what happened to Larson on Sunday, getting pinched down and losing it. And I didn't want that to happen, so we took the outside, and thankfully it worked out to our advantage.
Well, next week we head to Talladega Superspeedway. JBR has been known for being really strong at the Superspeedways. Now that you got a win, is the goal to try to maybe get Danny Gutierrez in victory lane and helping his chances on moving to the next round, or do you try to go back-to-back?
Oh, no doubt. That's always going to be trying to help him. I think he was 1 point out coming into this race and had a really superb race. I think he was probably the car to beat there at the end. He did manage his stuff really great all race. Definitely a heck of a job by him, and super proud of the way he ran this race, and definitely going to try to make sure we get him locked in versus trying to race in on points. So we're going to do what we can to get him in, and then if that doesn't work, we'll go from there, but that's obviously plan A for us.
All right. Well, before we let you head outside and enjoy your victory, is anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
I'd like to thank Ryko, week in and week out, like I say every time, for these awesome setups. Got to thank Ken and the whole crew over there, everybody at JBR Racing, from Richard to Adrian to Danny, to my brother Brian. He did a lot of work with me this week, crew chiefing and working on things throughout officials. That really paid off tonight, so a big shout out to my brother for the help there. And Mayor Brothers, Hoyt, you for putting on the broadcast. And I think that's everybody.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us. Congrats on the win, and we'll see you next week at Talladega.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Watson, your winner here tonight at Texas. One more congrats to him and the JBR E-Racing team for a good run for both of their playoff drivers here tonight. As always, we appreciate everybody coming out. I hope you did enjoy Talladega next week. Not going to want to miss out on that one. And then Thursday, we head over to PGR for the Thursday Night Heat Series. That will be at Talladega as well. Make sure you stop by. That's all for me tonight. Austin Green here on Goose.